Well, good evening, folks, or good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Quincy Kane Morris here, and this is live stream number 41. Yes, we are getting up there. Stan and I were discussing in the chat that maybe we should do something special at 45. That's his current age. And I don't know about that. I feel like 45 is kind of a random number. But maybe 50. Maybe we'll try to do something special for 50. But I don't know. So we'll see. But anyway, the past couple streams we've been talking about kind of how technology has changed things a little bit these days. You don't necessarily need a band anymore to be an artist and to perform your songs. And that's something that I've been doing. I certainly tried to form a band together. And it's tough. It's hard to get everyone on the same page and with scheduling and with just life, different responsibilities that each person has. It's hard for all of that to come together. So it's not necessarily like, it's not like it's someone's fault or anything like that. It's just, hey, it's just one of those things. It's tough to do. And so a lot of musicians find themselves like, man, I'd love to be in a band, but I can't find the members. I can't make it work out and stuff. So one way you're able to do that, we were kind of talking about how sort of like what I'm doing is just sort of using these backing tracks. And the last time I showed you how the recording process actually works, just some things to kind of get started. But today we're going to talk more about the performance side of things and kind of like I'll be demonstrating here, how you can actually perform live streams, but then also how you can take this rig and perform in an actual live setting. So if you're eager to get to that and you're watching on the replay, I will have a timestamp for that. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for more people to show up, don't be shy, say hello, let me know what's going on with you. And, let me know, have you ever played a live show before? Have you ever performed music in front of people? Leave a comment, let me know what that was like. And I'm going to go ahead and dive into a song here. This one's called For You. I know you've coped with this loneliness. You think you're okay, but you've been dragged. I'm out here pleading, but you can't hear me. Your silent screams are deafening. Well, ignore my warning. Just know that I'm sorry for you. And all this time, just know that I've tried for you. Come back to me. Thought I was different, but you made me like them. Begged you to hold on, but you still let go. And from the distance, I can see what's missing. You never listen, so you'll never know. Well, ignore my warning. Just know that I'm sorry for you. And all this time, just know that I've tried for you. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. You're my closest friend. deepest wound, my most painful scar, and I cherish you. Well, ignore my warning. Just know that I'm sorry for you. And all this time, just know that I'm trying for you. Come back to me. Thank you. Yep, that's right. So Stan has played in front of people before. It was through the church, playing with the youth group and stuff. He's been doing an awesome job with it and continuing. I mean, just at the last practice, now you're starting to play in sync with the kick drum, which I think is great. You know, that's kind of a tricky thing to do, but you understand how measures work. You know how the timing works, how long you're staying on chords, and you know it's kind of easy to stay with that consistent pumping, like that kick. That's pretty simple. But when the kick's actually playing a pattern and you can match up with that, that's when you're starting to get into like the real good sounding stuff. So definitely keep that up. And that's right, getting to play at another church, getting to play at Covenant in front of different people with other musicians, that's quite an experience. And yeah, at first you can be like, yeah, I don't know what to think about that. That's kind of intense. But afterwards you realize, like, man, I learned a lot from that. That was a good experience for me and stuff. And that's the thing about music, is like definitely getting to play in different environments and for different events and stuff. That does a lot to shape you as a musician and kind of help you learn your craft. It can be scary. It's always, you always kind of have to push those boundaries a little bit to really grow and improve. If you're always in the same climate, then you never really change. You always just stay the same. The change is very slow, very gradual. But when you kind of every now and then go out of your comfort zone into a different environment, that has a way of testing you and shaping you and helping you sort of realize, oh, here's where I'm really good, here are some of my weaknesses, and just kind of growing and improving on that. And that's kind of a little bit, well, not too much, that does relate to what we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about performance, but not so much actually performing, more like the technical side of things. How do you take this show on the road? So we're going to dive into that now. At any point, if you have any questions about any of this, just let me know. Leave a question. Actually, if you have a question about anything, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer it. But let's go ahead and dive right in. So the last couple weeks, I sort of showed you kind of a quick run-through of the recording process. When we looked at my computer, I showed you the recording software I use and how you can make backing tracks. That's basically how you can play. Now, keep in mind, the way I'm performing with guitar and vocals. So my backing track has a rhythm guitar, it's got a bass, and it's got a drum set. Every now and then it'll have like background vocals or things like that, but basically it's filling in the other instruments that I don't have. Now, if you don't sing and you're just a guitarist, that's fine. You could do the same thing just without the microphone. So no mic, and you just play guitar. And actually, I'm going to show you some of my gear in a moment here, and you wouldn't need quite as much of a setup. If you were just doing instrumental music with a guitar, you'd be fine. If you played bass, same thing. You would want your guitars or your other instruments, filling in the place, and then you just mute the bass in your backing track, and you need a way to set up your bass so you can play. If you're a drummer, you could have the whole backing track, and again, you just mute the drums. And then you just want to make sure you can hear that and be able to play along with it. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to share with you my setup for guitar and vocals. So yeah, let me show you something real quick. So I've showed you this before. The way I'm setting all this up, I am plugging into an interface. Okay, so this is an interface that I'm plugging into that allows me to plug my guitar into my computer. So I'm actually, my whole rig is in my computer. I'm using a virtual amp sim, or amp simulator. So rather than playing through a real guitar amp and a real guitar cab, I'm playing through a digital one that is on my computer. Now let me show you guys something real quick. Where's this at? All right, so check out this picture. So I just took this picture back at my house, but this is the rig that I'm running into. Like right now, just off to the side here, over here is my my rig that I'm plugged into, my headphones. So my hopefully, I don't know if you guys can see the my arrow. Hopefully you can. That'd be great. No, you probably can't. You can see this picture, but not the arrow. Let me think. Okay, so I don't know if I have a way to show you that. Maybe if I do display capture. All right, this might work. You're going to see like the infinity thing, but hopefully this kind of shows you the arrow so you can see. But yeah, if we look at this picture here, this top device is the interface. So this is what I showed you guys a picture of this before. So my headphones are plugged in here. That's how I'm hearing myself. And then in the back, there are some cables. There's a Firewire cable running out the back that's going into my computer. And my guitar is being plugged in here as well. Now, these two devices are new. I haven't showed you these. So this one right here, this one that says Tube Pre, this is a preamp is what it is. And so this is for my microphone. The microphone typically needs to be powered by something with a preamp. So you can see I've got the drive turned all the way down. The gain, that's kind of the volume. I've got that. I usually set that around 9 o'clock. There's some of these buttons here. I don't really use much of them. The only button I really use is this one right here. It says 80 hertz. So what that is, it's a high-pass filter. It rolls off some of that low-end mud. You don't really need, 80 hertz, that stuff, anything below that. The voice doesn't really have that. That's like bass frequencies. So by cutting that stuff out, it kind of cleans up the microphone frequencies, kind of makes it a little bit tighter and sounding better. So this is what my in the back there is an XLR input. That's what my microphone cable is going into. So I guess I should mention that first. Like, yes, you're going to need this device, but obviously what I'm playing with, I've got my guitar, and I've got a cable running from my guitar into the interface. But then you're also going to need a microphone, and you're going to need a microphone stand, and then you're going to need a cable, an XLR cable running from the microphone, and then to be honest, there are devices. So I've got two devices here, but if you get something like the Scarlett interface, it basically combines these two devices. Not only is it an interface, but it's also a preamp. So you can get an interface that has a built-in preamp, and that makes it easier. So instead of having these two devices, you've got one device that you can plug both your guitar into it and your microphone into it. But my interface does not have an XLR cable input. So I've got to plug my XLR cable into this preamp right here. And then what I'm actually doing, this next part is optional but highly recommended. This one on the bottom here, it says Comp 16. This is a compressor. And what a compressor does, it can be kind of confusing, but the voice is very dynamic. You can speak very quiet with the voice. And you could speak really loud. The voice is very dynamic. And the problem with music is when you've got a dynamic voice, it can be really hard to find the right volume for it in a full mix with a bunch of instruments. Because when you're singing loud, it might sound good, but then like in a verse, when you sing quiet, suddenly it might be hard to hear the voice over all the music. It might be like, what happened to the voice? I can't hear what he's saying, So what a compressor does is it compresses, it squeezes the audio. It turns the loud parts down, and it turns the quiet parts up. So it just helps give you a more consistent volume. So if you have a hardware compressor, meaning a device like this, that can be really helpful. So what's happening is my mic is going into the tube pre here, the preamp, but then it's got, there's an output, and I'm actually using instrument cables. There's an output for an instrument cable. It's going out from the tube pre into the compressor. And then from the compressor, I've got certain settings on there to compress my voice. And then from the compressor, it's going out with an instrument cable into the other input in the interface. So you following me? So mic goes into the preamp. Preamp goes into the compressor. Compressor goes into the interface. And we've essentially converted the XLR cable into an instrument cable. So there are two inputs in the back of the interface. One input is for my guitar, and then the other input is for my microphone. So there you go. And then all that stuff goes through a Firewire cable for my setup. For you, it could be USB or something, but Firewire cable into my computer. Let me check the chat real quick. Why don't they teach these instruments in school? You know, that's actually a really good question. I'm not sure why they only do, you know, band. I say band instruments, but even when you say band, you know, it's orchestral stuff. It's brass and woodwinds and it's not even like. I say orchestral, but I don't think they do like strings. Like I don't think they typically teach violin or cello. Maybe they got that. It's usually like marching band, you know. It's a little bit of percussion, but not even like a drum set, like just a snare drum or you know a tom or something. And then yeah, you've got brass, you know, trumpet, horn, stuff like that. They do have jazz bands sometimes. I don't know if every school has that, but. So that's a good question. I don't really know why that's the standard. Now, I've got nothing against that. You know, I think it's cool if people learn brass or if people learn, you know, woodwinds and stuff. Maybe that stuff is easier to teach. Maybe it's easier to learn. You know, I'm not sure. I can't speak. You know, I can't play any woodwind or brass instruments. Or I shouldn't say, it's not that I can't play them, it's just that I haven't tried. You know, I've maybe tried like once or twice, you know, when someone had an instrument that I could try. I think my dad had a saxophone. But you know, I just never had any instrument in really learning that stuff, you know. I just, yeah, you know, so I didn't put any effort into it or go out of my way to learn it. But you would think that in school that they would have other music opportunities, you know, for people who wanted to play, you know, guitar or bass or a full drum set or something. I can say the school I went to a private school, United Christian Academy, and we had a music teacher there who had a praise band class. So we would get there early for praise band practice, and we learned. We all learned those instruments. We learned, you know, drums and guitar. Now, we all knew how to play those instruments, but we learned how to play songs together, and we learned how to play together as a band. So that's pretty cool. And so if schools had that kind of thing where it's like, hey, if you already know how to play an instrument, but you want an opportunity to play with other musicians, that would be really cool. So, yeah. But, you know, I don't have anything to do with the school system, so, you know, I can, that would be my opinion, but it's not like I can make them do it, so we'll see. But maybe something will change. I know some classes, like, they'll have free time and stuff like that, where they'll allow certain, like, electives or something, and maybe in those opportunities, if maybe it's up to the student to say, hey, I play an instrument, I'd like to play with other musicians. Is there a time, you know, a period where I could do this, you know, and maybe they would allow that. So it'd be nice if they encouraged it to begin with, but, you know, maybe it's just, it just takes a student stepping up to suggest that. So anyway, so here's all my gear. This is the system that I'm running through in order to get into my computer. And let's see here. And so once we're in the computer, you know, I've showed you this before, so I'm not going to go too in detail with this, but basically you've got your backing tracks here. In fact, the song I just played, you know, there's the backing track right there. So if I were to play that, it's going to count off. And it's playing, you can hear the guitar is only coming out of the left speaker because my guitar comes out of the right speaker. And then my voice, I know you've coped with, you know, comes through the microphone. So yeah, so if you have a backing track like that, you know, we're set up. And I've got two channels here. I've got one for my guitar. And again, my whole guitar rig is through all this. I've got these are virtual tools, or they're called plugins. And, you know, there's my guitar amp right there. And so all these tools are what is making my guitar sound the way it sounds. You know, and, you know, a way I'll sort of change tone really quick, if you need to change tone, I'll switch my pickup. So I don't know if you guys can still see me, actually, so one second. So like on my guitar, I'll change the pickup to the neck pickup, and I'll turn the volume down a little bit so it's not as distorted. and you get kind of a crunch tone. So that's kind of my like quick crunch tone effect. And then if I need a clean tone, I'm going to bring the display back up. I actually have, that's what this one is. I can turn this one off and turn this one on. This is a setup for a clean tone. Let's see. Yep. But you know, it's kind of tricky to change like in the middle of your set, so I only use that for like specific songs and stuff. And then here's my vocals right here. So yep, you can see that meter, hey, hey, jumping up and down. And I know I said I was going through a hardware compressor, but on this channel here, I've got a few things going on. I've actually got some more compression happening here. There's a compressor right here. Hey, yep, you see how that meter, that's compressing those loud peaks. And then I've got a limiter, which is like a heavier compressor. Hey, you know, so I've got, it's usually, rather than using one compressor and squeezing the heck out of your audio, it's usually better to use multiple compressors and just squeeze it a little bit at a time. That usually kind of keeps it sounding natural while, you know, being more consistent. And then the last thing, I've actually got automation on here too. I mean, that's kind of advanced stuff, but automation, basically, I can automate the fader to move up and down. So for quiet sections in the song, I'll have the audio turn up, and then for louder sections, I'll have it turned down. So that's like, you know, more detail that you can get into. Let's see here. Gonna turn my display off. All right, so yeah, so that's all you need. That's like your rig and stuff. So what about performing shows? So as far as like performing in a live stream like I am right now, you'll have to learn how to use OBS. There's lots of videos out there about OBS. In fact, if I turn my display on, again, that's what I'm using here. This program you're seeing right here, it's showing the window of what I'm seeing right now, so that's why you're seeing this infinite loop. But yeah, you can see this is where I'm streaming from. This is the program that is allowing me, like I can bring up my logo. Oh, wait, or sorry, not logo. I can bring up the DAW. Oh, wait, I'm picking all the wrong stuff. I can bring up the timer, you know, that I play at the beginning, although I'm not seeing it right now. Not sure why it's not showing, but how about the start? Okay, I guess, oh, you know what? I think for some reason, because I'm showing the display, I can't show what I bring up. So let me turn the display off, but if you guys are watching, you can see, like, I can bring up the timer. There it is. I can bring up the start. Stream will be starting soon. I can bring up the ending. Stream has ended. You know, so this software allows me to it's basically a free broadcasting thing. I think that's even what I'm not sure what OBS, Online Broadcasting System, maybe that's what it stands for. I'm not sure. So, you know, there's some tutorials, it's some technical stuff, but using something like this allows you to stream to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, you know, wherever you want to stream. YouTube's my main platform, so that's where I stream to. And yeah, once you got that set up, there's a way, there are certain settings, you've got to route your software that has your backing tracks and stuff. You got to route all that stuff to OBS, and you got to route it so that you can hear it, but then the audio is going through so that your audience can hear it. So that's definitely some technical stuff, but it's possible, you know, and you can figure it out. And even, you know, I don't have like super high speed internet, so that's why I can't bring like super high quality streams to you guys. High quality as in the image. Hopefully the content is still high quality. We'll see, but that's kind of okay. I think most people on live streaming, they don't expect like the same content or same quality as like a polished edited video. You know, usually it's expected to be a little more kind of rough around the edges. So that's kind of like one of the nice things about live streaming. You don't have to worry about it being super perfect. But there was a video I discovered. If you look up like how to live stream with slow internet, I'm pretty sure there's a few videos you can find that help you set up the proper settings so that you can still stream even if you don't have like super high speed internet. You're still going to need like pretty good internet, but you know, yeah. All right, so that's like streaming, and then other than that, you just practice, you perform, and you know, the first few times you do it, it's going to be terrifying. But, you know, after a while, then you're just like, it just becomes the norm. You know, I've been doing this for 41 streams now, and the first few streams were definitely like, you know, scary and you know, like I was nervous and still figuring it out. And now doing it, I'm probably almost too comfortable. Like some days I really feel it, and then some days it's like, I got to stream, and it's like, but hey, that's good. If you, yes, you've kind of made like a norm of it thing, and I'm constantly experimenting with this. Again, I was talking about it in the chat a little bit. I'm going to continue to always, share my knowledge. And anytime you guys have questions and stuff, I certainly love answering that. But I think I'm going to alternate, not be doing so much of these tutorial kind of videos, but also just, just having a hangout, and so I'm trying to find the best way to encourage that and promote that. So, but if you ever have any ideas for just like topics, just like, hey, let's chat, let's hang out, anything you want to discuss, please let me know. So last thing, so that's live streaming. But what about live performance? Now, for live performance, I'm hoping to start doing that this year. Technically, I've got a gig lined up, but it's not going to be for like a couple more months. So I'm getting some things set up. So for a live gig, it's basically the same setup. You're going to need your computer. You're going to need, your interface and preamp and all that stuff. You're going to need your microphone. But when you go to the venue, you gotta think about like, what am I going to need? You're going to need like a table to put your computer on and put your gear on. You're going to need, you might need some things to plug into. Like hopefully the venue has all the stuff you need, but you might need some extra cables, some extra instrument cables, maybe a couple XLR cables. You might need a direct box. So, that's something to look into. You might need a power strip, something to plug in. Like, right now I'm plugging my laptop into the wall, and I have to power the tube pre and the compressor. They've got some outputs that go into the outlet in the wall to power them up. So rather than looking for an outlet in a wall, it'd be better just to have a power strip that you can plug into and then plug that into, whatever power source they have that you can plug into. So little things like that you want to think about, and that's pretty much it. And then you're good to perform. And then, other than that, you just want to think about a table for merchandise and that kind of things, So after the show, people can come talk to you. You can set up like a little tip jar and have a way, like that they can sign up for your email list and all that stuff. So, which, by the way, if you want to sign up for my email list, link in the description. Let's see here. But yeah, and then as far as performance goes, it's pretty cool because if you can set up for live streams, you can actually use the same setup for live shows. It's pretty cool. Part of me was like, okay, well, do I need to play through a backing track and then use their sound system for the microphone? It's like, actually, you don't have to worry about that. If you've got everything mixed here, all you have to do is get your system outputted into the sound system for the show that you're playing. Now, the way that works, the way they're going to do that is like right now I'm outputting to headphones, and then I'm outputting through the computer into streaming. I'm streaming the audio from the computer to you guys live. That's how you're hearing all this. The way it would work in a live setting though is I would, rather than going through my headphones, we would use the back of my interface to go into a direct box, and then the direct box would go into I don't know what you call it, but it would go into a socket that connects it to the mixer for the soundboard for the whole sound system wherever the venue is that you're playing. So basically think of the venue as your headphones. You're basically sending your interface to the sound system so that what you would hear in your headphones would play through the sound system speakers. You're also going to want to monitor. So you're probably not going to play with headphones on in an actual live setting. And then, but it might be nice to hear yourself. Hopefully the venue will have a monitor for you. Wouldn't be bad to find like an affordable one to buy. So that's something to think about. But yeah, basically if you can get a good mix for your live streams and stuff, it's probably, it should translate just fine to in a live show setting too. And that's nice because everything's kind of set up, like you just plug in and go. It makes it really simple. So that's really all there is to it, guys. Let's see if there's anything going on in the chat. Yep, I guess that's some of it too. Yep, just planting the music seed and yeah, because some people, they play music for a little while and then, maybe back in school and then they kind of get out of it and then yeah, I guess you need those people to encourage it. I've always had that, just kind of growing up. I mean, I came from a musical family, so my dad and my siblings all playing music, and we always just had instruments around us. So it was like, if I just felt like if I was curious and I felt like experimenting with an instrument, it's not like I wasn't allowed to. It was right there for me to pick up and play with. And so, for someone who loves music, I definitely encourage that. That's something I want to do. I want to give people that opportunity to like just play with music, and that's what it is at the end of the day. It's just play. And some people, maybe they don't think about that. I think there's a lot of people who they would like to play music, and they might not even realize it. Like, it's just never crossed their mind, like, yeah, I could play guitar, or I could play drums, or I could sing. They don't really think about it because no one, like, tells them, like, hey, you can do that if you want to, They just don't get, like, a chance to play with it. Even for me, with drums, I wasn't really worried about learning how to play drums, but me and my friends, we were into metal, and metal's got that double bass, that double kick drum. And we noticed that the drum set at our church had a double kick pedal. So we're like, whoa, let's try it. So we all took turns. And of course, everyone wasn't really that good at it. But I got on there, and I knew how to keep a steady beat. But of course, I had no control over my feet. But I noticed, like, if I just go as fast as I can, it almost sounds like it has a steady enough beat. So maybe if I go as fast as I can find like a steady pulse to just kind of drum along with. So I tried that, and it was actually pretty good. My friends were like, hey, that sounds pretty good. And that was enough motivation for me to realize, like, man, if I worked on this, I could do it. I could play drums. So I started practicing drums. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same thing for a lot of people. There's probably a lot of people who they just need to try something and see that, like, yeah, I could do this. If I really tried this, I could do it. And I don't know. It's just, we got it. You got to give people that chance. You got to give people that opportunity to at least try something and see what they're capable of. Because on our own, we might not think that. We might not, we might not. Yeah, we might not think that for ourselves. We might not realize what we're capable of until someone else points it out. Like, hey, you could do this thing if you really tried it. So I think the lesson there, for anyone watching this, if you are interested in music, or if it's something else, if it's martial arts, if it's fitness, if it's a sport, skateboarding, whatever it is you're into, if there's something that you kind of like and you'd like to do it, but you've just, for some reason, you've never really thought of actually trying it, like, just go for it. There's nothing wrong with trying it. Everyone's got to start somewhere, and give it a shot and just see how it feels, and you might surprise yourself. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all there is to live, playing live shows, and that's going to conclude this series. This is part 3 of that series, and I'm not sure what the next streams are going to be. I got to figure them out. This one isn't over yet. I've got more songs for you. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas, just things, to make this like a nice conversational hangout, I think that's what I'd like it to be, just performing songs and then just like having good conversation in between the set, it'd be nice. So, I love sharing, what I've learned. So anytime you have questions, let me know, and and I can do my best to answer them. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into another song for you guys. This one's an instrumental called Hard Goodbyes. But if you have any more questions, whether it's related to performing, whether it's about, planting that music seed or something, having the motivation to try something new, or maybe leave a comment. Let me know. Is there something you haven't learned yet that you would like to learn? For me, I would say, all right, if we're talking music, I wouldn't mind learning like violin or cello. That would be like the next instrument I'd want to learn. Definitely not going to go out of my way to learn that, but if I had the extra time, that would be something. As far as like a skill, that's good. There's a lot of stuff I want to learn. Trying to think. I basically want to be an action hero. So, I know how to shoot a gun. I know how to load those and work a gun pretty good. I work out. I do like a little bit of parkour, a little bit of martial arts, that kind of stuff. So maybe learning how to drift a car. So if I got to get away and stuff. So that'd be a skill. Again, not a skill that I'd learn anytime soon, but I'm trying to think. I'm not really sure what the next like skill I would want to learn. I literally have a list for this. I've got a YouTube list of like stuff for later. So if I went through that, I could probably see like, oh yeah, I've been wanting to do this, But let me know. Is there something you want to learn, something you haven't learned yet that you'd like to learn next? Let me know. I'm going to go into a song for you. This one's called Hard Goodbyes, but it ain't goodbye yet. Yep. That's right. My brother Guthrie kind of got Stan to play bass. Originally, because that's the thing. Other people might not even think. I mean, he thought of it. I wasn't thinking of it, but we've got 2 services at our church. We've got a morning service, like early service at 9 a.m., and then a service after that at 11 a.m. But we have 2 different bands for those sets so that the same people don't have to come to both services and play. Although I have to play for both services, But anyway, so the earlier service has the youth band, the teenagers playing. And I help with them. I kind of help them learn their instruments and learn how to play as a band. But we needed a bass player. And originally I was going to reach out to my brother or my brother-in-law, who are both in the older band, and they both play guitar. One plays electric, one plays acoustic guitar in the older band. And so I was going to get them to play bass, but then one of them suggested, well, maybe there's someone else who we can give them the opportunity to play. What about Stan, since he's learning guitar? And I was like, yeah, Stan would be a really good one. And Stan's been doing great on it. So yeah. All right, here we go. Thanks, Stan, that I'm the man. And yeah, that's awesome that you can drift. I can drift in the snow. Like, I know how that works, So like if something's slippery, I know how to drift, but I'd have to learn how to drive like a stick shift to properly do it. I don't think you can actually drift in like automatic cars. And I kind of know how to drive a stick shift, but I definitely don't have enough experience to do it comfortably. The last time I drove a stick shift was like back when I was first learning how to drive. So, yeah. All right, here we go. Miguel. So, hope you're all doing well. Anyone watching now or anyone watching on the replay. Again, if you ever have any ideas for topics, things you'd like to discuss, please let me know. Let me kind of let you guys know some update stuff. I'm going to be honest. I've learned something new recently, and it's sort of like I feel like I don't have too much to report. There's definitely some new stuff that's happening, but I've kind of learned something lately, and maybe you guys can benefit from this as well. But in life, pretty much, when you know how to do something, when you know how something works, it's very easy to be consistent with that thing. Like you know how to do it. It doesn't require a whole lot of thought to operate it. But in order to keep growing and progressing and moving on, you've got to branch out. You've got to learn new things. You've got to learn new skill sets or try new opportunities. And it's a little tricky because it's a new course that you kind of have to navigate. But as you're learning how to do that, it becomes a new skill set that you can then apply and use and stuff. And kind of what I've learned is I think the best way to be productive is to balance those two things. You want something that's kind of familiar, something that doesn't require a whole lot of thought and like you can just, get it done. And you want to balance that at the same time as you're trying something new. Now, I say all that to say this, things have been a little challenging lately because I feel like I've been taking on a lot of new stuff. For example, the current song that I'm working on is a collaboration, and in that collaboration, I'm actually mixing real drums, which I don't normally do, and I underestimated how easy that would be. That's been a bit of a challenge. Now, thankfully, I think the mix is getting closer to done and stuff, so hopefully I'll have a new song for you guys soon. But that's been a challenge, and it'd be one thing if I was just doing that, but at the same time, I've been trying to get set up for these live shows, and that's kind of a new thing too. So all this has kind of been interfering with my ability to to make videos regularly. I mean, obviously, I'm still doing the streams. Again, streams are kind of a fairly simple thing that, I don't have to think too much about it. But even the streams have been tough trying to prepare, a topic. Yeah. But, making regular videos that I put out, I'd like to put out more videos. I've got plenty of ideas for things I'd like to do, but it's just I can't really do them because these new things that I'm taking on, they require so much attention, just learning how to do them and just trying to get them done. So, things are, yeah, and that's kind of what stinks too, is stuff's happening, but it's hard to report on it because it's new terrain. I can't really tell you what to expect or when to expect it. So the lesson there is, whenever you're doing something, make sure you've got one solid thing that you can manage and handle, and just kind of try to take on just one new thing at a time. Try not to take on too many new things all at once, because then you feel like you're doing a lot because you're learning and you're trying to figure all this stuff out, but you don't have a whole lot to show for it, at first at least. So there's a little lesson for you there. Yeah, maybe we'll have to do that. I'm sure there's a few things you could teach me, Stan. Only thing is I mean, I might have to learn to drive a throttle, if I want to do drifting and stuff, but other than that, it's definitely, I can't say it's a priority. Most vehicles are automatic these days, so if I was just learning to drift, it would purely be for the fun of it. Maybe sometime we can do that, but yeah, it would definitely. It's definitely hard to find time. Like I said, I've got a list on YouTube called Stuff for Later. And it's things that I eventually want to learn, things that I eventually want to dive more into, but they're not really priority things right now. Right now it's I need to use my time to be productive and focused in what I'm trying to accomplish with my music and my career, and but balancing that and doing what I can do for fun, which is skateboarding right now, and fitness, taking care of my body, and enjoying movies and video games and things like that. Trying to balance all of that. But hopefully a day will come where it's all right, I got some time to learn some new skills, and we can continue to improve my action movie qualities. but yeah, as far as new stuff goes. I think I mentioned a while back that I am talking with someone about making a logo. Now, we haven't officially started working together. There's still a few things we're trying to kind of work out, but I do think I'm probably going to go through with this collaboration. Not totally sure, but again, this is kind of new terrain for me myself, so there's still some things I need to figure out about it, but yeah, that is kind of along with this live show preparation that I'm making. Like I said, a couple months from now, I am hoping to start playing some actual live shows, and I've been kind of gathering some things to get all that set up. So hopefully I'll have some, new things and new exciting things to show you guys. But in the meantime, like I said, right now I'm trying to kind of finish up some of this stuff. I think I took on a little too much. So I'm trying to get that done and then hopefully get in a routine where like I can start putting out videos regularly. Regularly besides these live streams and stuff. And I would just like to put out more original music. And whenever I take too much on, it's hard to take time to write a new song, produce it, and actually put it out and stuff. So, yeah. That's right. I could be late for a gig, and it's like, I got to get there. Just got to drift around and stuff. If I don't get pulled over by a cop, See, I feel like, if I'm trying to chase after a bank robber or drive away from an explosion, or save a loved one from being killed. I feel like those are good, legitimate excuses, like why I would be speeding and drifting in town. But if I'm just late for a gig, then yeah, I'll get a ticket just for speeding. I can't say like someone's life was at stake. It's like so. But yeah, you never know. So it would really be fun to. I don't even know where you'd go. I mean, I have to Google it, but I know there's places you can go, like tracks where you can drive cars and stuff. Even there's one place not too far from here. I almost want to say it's in like the Virginia Beach area, but it's some kind of like NASCAR themed runway thing, and you can drive like go-karts, and they've got like different levels. They've got little go-karts for kids, all the way up to like faster vehicles for that you have to have like a license to drive and stuff. But to be honest, that one's not even that fun. Like even though it's faster, I think that one's just a circle. The funnest one is it's like the fastest go-kart one, where the track actually like has turns and stuff. It's not just like a circle or an oval, whatever. And so that's a lot of fun because it's slick and you can drift around those corners. Now, of course, it's not like drifting with the throttle and stuff, but you just turn really sharp and then you correct that turn so you can slide around the corner and stuff. So that's a lot of fun to do. That's right. Action guys have to drive. So with all that said, let me know what's new with you, what's going on in your life, and what's some of your favorite action movies, since we're talking action right now. Let me know some of your favorite action movies. For me, I got a lot of them. Just spitfiring some. Taken, the Bourne trilogy, Casino Royale, GoldenEye. If you want to consider, Gladiator or Braveheart, if you want to call those action movies, you can. Usually when I think action, I think like, secret agent, gun kind of stuff. Those are technically action movies, but they're almost more like dramas, but yeah, Braveheart, Gladiator, The Patriot. There's so many, there's so many good ones. So let me know some of your favorites. This song is called Waking Up. It's too much effort to pull away the covers that hold me down and won't let go. It smothers me, the weight of this anxiety pressing me into my pillow. blissful sleep, chasing lies and counting sheep. It sure is easy, but not for me. So here I am with all I have. I'm waking up, facing what's in front of me. I won't back down, I can't stop now. I'm waking up so I can start to dream. I toss and turn, and tick by tock the hours burn, pleading for this night to end. A part of me begging to go back to sleep. It sure is easy, but not for me. So here I am with all I have, waking up, facing what's in front of me. I won't back down, I can't stop now. I'm waking up so I can start to dream. You're not worthless. You have purpose. Wake up, see it. Time to dream it. So here I am with all I have. I'm waking up, I'm facing what's in front of me. I won't back down, I can't stop now. I'm waking up so I can start to dream. So here I am with all I have. I'm waking up, I'm facing what's in front of me. I won't back down, I can't stop now. I'm waking up so I can start to dream. Thanks, Stan. I appreciate that. Got some other songs to get through, but I'm hoping that I'll actually release that song fairly soon. Again, I'm currently working on one, but that one, the production side of it, there's really not much left to do in it. So yeah, I'm hoping to release that one at some point. So should come out this year. I can say that. Let me ask you guys, have you watched anything good lately? Or have you played any video games lately? You know, what you've been watching, what you've been playing. Well, let's see, for myself, what did I watch recently? I'm trying to think back. Oh, I'm drawing a blank. What did I watch? Okay, I got to go backwards. I didn't want to start with this one, but this was the most recent thing I watched. So the other night I watched A Cinderella Story. What? So that movie came out in like 2004. So I was like a young teenager at the time, but I legitimately enjoy that movie, and definitely watching it back. There's probably a little bit of nostalgia. I can't deny that, but it does take me back to the mid 2000s, that time of my life. Like that music, like the soundtrack's great. I'm like, oh, this takes me back. This reminds me of being a young teenager, and I like Hilary Duff. Like I think she's a great actress, and obviously the story of Cinderella, it's like a classic story, but I thought they did a good job kind of adapting it into like sort of a modern take. And, it's got some funny parts. It's just like a fun, feel-good movie. Like obviously I'm not going to compare it to something like Gladiator or Braveheart, but I can't deny that a movie like that, makes me feel good. It's a fun movie and a good watch. And typically those movies, so most movies are usually around 2 hours. But like that's kind of, I feel like, that's like the good movie target. Now, just because a movie's 2 hours doesn't mean it's going to be good, but that's like where they aim for. And so sometimes lower budget movies are more like an hour and a half. And what's kind of nice about that is I feel like it's all killer, no filler. Like they don't have the luxury to tell too long of a story. So if it's an hour and a half and it feels really long, then yeah, there's definitely problems with the pacing and stuff. But most of the time, if it's an hour and a half, like every scene is going to be intentional. And I personally like movies that are an hour and a half just because they feel like, you just feel like the story is moving. You don't feel like you're kind of sitting there and it's dragging and you're waiting for stuff to happen. So that was one thing I watched. I'm trying to remember what I had watched before that. I can see it written in my journal, but can't remember what it was. I watched Happy Gilmore. There we go. that was. Oh, a couple things. Now it's all coming back now. Yeah. All right. So I came home and my siblings had Happy Gilmore on. So it's classic comedy. So I had to sit down and watch it with them. So that's a good one. Adam Sandler is great. I like most Adam Sandler movies. I think he's got a good track record and he's got a good gig. I mean, he made a lot of money from that stuff. So having his own production studio and getting to just invite his friends to make movies and stuff like that, that's a good gig right there. So, yeah, so that's a good one. But then me and my family for Mother's Day, it was kind of rainy. We were going to go on a hike, but because of the weather, it was going to be cold where we were going to go hiking. So we ended up going to see a movie instead. We went to see that new movie, The Lost City. I mean, I say new, it's been out for like a month or so, but that was really good. Again, that was just a fun, feel-good movie. I would define it as a comedy adventure movie. It's definitely an adventure kind of, Indiana Jones kind of thing. But it's a comedy. It's very funny. It's one of those movies that's just got a little bit of everything. It's got some romance, got some action, got some drama, has, adventure and thrills and, it's just like, it's got a little bit of everything. It's just a feel good, fun movie. Everyone enjoyed it. It was like, it was a great movie to go see for Mother's Day. So, so those are a few things I've watched lately. Stan, yeah, sorry, I'm getting to your comments a little slow. When you say you can almost sing that one, do you mean the "Waking Up" that song? That's pretty cool if you can sing that. If you caught on to the words and stuff. And then I see, I like it and I saw it, so I don't know if you were talking about some of the movies I mentioned. Cinderella Story, Happy Gilmore. I'm guessing yes is for Happy Gilmore. But yeah. So. But it is funny, I'd be curious to have this conversation at some point. But there's a lot of different kinds of movies and stuff. But there are those movies that they have kind of like a girly title, like A Cinderella Story. But it's like, hey, it's a good movie. It's like, it's fun. It's got good characters. It's got a good soundtrack. A good story. It's like, what's not to like about it? So there's a few like kind of chick flick movies that I'm okay with. It's not like the genre that I watch all the time and stuff. But especially back in like my teen years, there's those movies that sort of target teens. So even if it's girls, like a lot of times guys can still enjoy them too. But because they were targeting like the teenage audience, like they were just fun movies, you know. So it was, you know, they were just enjoyable to watch. Aside from that, as far as games go, I've just been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 right now. I will say this though. So I'm trying to beat that game. Like I want to beat it as quickly as I can, but I do quite like Texas Hold'em. I like poker Texas Hold'em, and you can play Texas Hold'em in the game. I'll spend quite a bit of time. So I've been playing poker, playing Texas Hold'em, and I was struggling a little bit. I was like, man, I'm just not getting any good hands, and you know, it's like, how do I, you know, maybe there's some strategy I can implement to just, you know, up my game a little bit. And so I've been watching a lot of poker videos lately and learning a little bit about that. So, and some of it's helped, you know, just knowing like, you know, depending on your position on the table, that's going to influence like if you're in a good position or not. Like you might have like a decent hand, but if you're in a bad position, you should probably fold. If you have a decent hand and you're in a good position, then there's more chance that you can still play that hand and maybe come out, you know, good with it. So there's a lot of little tips like that that can kind of help influence like what hands you should play, what hands you should fold, and you know, kind of better knowing when you can actually win a hand, how to bluff effectively, that kind of thing. So yeah, so that's all I've been playing right now. Yeah, well, yeah, Princess Bride's a good example. Like, talk about princess, girl, bride, girly. You know, these are female terms, but it's not even a, you know, girly movie at all. It's like, it's actually a really good like action adventure film. You know, and that's like that's one of those movies. That's like a perfect movie. You know, like anyone can watch it. There's so much to enjoy. It's one of those movies that has everything, you know, laughs, suspense, sadness, you know, romance. It's got like a little bit of everything in it. So that's just a great movie. But you're right. Like the title, it's like The Princess Bride. It's like, is that a chick flick? And it's like, not at all. You know, so yeah, sometimes, you know, titles can be a little misleading in that way. But yeah, Red Dead's been fun, and yeah, well, Stan, I don't know if you know this about me, but I actually love poker. Like I love Texas Hold'em specifically, and probably some of it probably from watching like Casino Royale. I'm like, man, you know, like watching a movie like that, or Maverick. I don't know if you've ever seen Maverick with Mel Gibson. Now they play five card poker in that, but you know it's still poker. But movies like that, you know, it's just. I don't know. I enjoy it. It's a fun game. Yeah, you know, I don't. Gambling's kind of an interesting topic, especially like when it comes to like Christianity and that kind of thing. A lot of the Bible, you know, suggests like, you know, being wise, you know, making smart decisions and stuff. But the Bible doesn't like full out condemn gambling. You know, gambling isn't like a sin. It's just stupid. You know, like you shouldn't gamble. Now, I will say, I think that's where self-control comes in my personal opinion, gambling is when you are risking. Gambling is when you are putting money and, you know, throwing money at something and hoping that you're going to win. Um, and the tricky thing with a game like poker is, like, you know, I play pretty seriously when I play for fun, you know, if we're just playing with chips, no money and stuff. But the money does change things. The money, you know, makes you play differently. So you kind of need money to really play the game properly. But the way I look at it is you're paying to play. You know, you have a set amount of money and you say, hey, this is money. I'm okay with losing this. You know, you need to look at it like this money is so that I can play in the game. And if I lose it, that's fine. You know, if I win, great. You know, I get some extra money. That's awesome. But that's, you know, the same way that you pay for a movie ticket or you pay for a meal, you are exchanging money for a good time. That's the way it should be. Now, if you do that and you lose and you're like, I need to win, and you pay more, like that's where you're getting into dangerous territory and stuff. But, you know, in my opinion, you know, if you're just paying to play, like, oh yeah, you know, here's some money I've set aside specifically for this, then I wouldn't even call that gambling. You know, you're just paying for a good time. So, but it is kind of a iffy topic and stuff. So. Yep, fun money is a good way to put it. I'm going to play another song for you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. If you've watched anything good or if there's anything coming out that you're interested in. I will say, Stan, I did hear, there's 2 reviewers I watch, and one of the reviewers has posted a video on the new Top Gun movie, and he gave it, thumbs up. He said it was good. So, I'm definitely, kind of hopeful of it. I kind of want to wait and see what the other guy says, but I think that was a movie you were interested in seeing, and you'll have to let me know. But yeah, here's an instrumental for you. Here we go. Like hell. Well, glad we're in agreement with that. But yeah, well, let's see. Oh, that's too bad she doesn't like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is actually one of my favorite actors. It's kind of funny because every time people, like any video I see or any comment I read, they always say, Tom Cruise is so great. I know he's in that weird religion stuff, but he's so great. Like everyone, they always comment him, and then they always have to like put aside, like, yes, I know he's like kind of weird into that, in that highball religion or whatever he's into, but it's like, but he's so great. And it's like, I feel the same way. People like that, like I hope he comes to know Jesus. I hope he gets saved. But like, I'm not embarrassed by him or anything. Like maybe it's kind of weird what he's into and stuff, but like the dude is talented and he makes some of my favorite movies. Like he makes good movies. So yeah, but I've heard a few people. There's some people who, yeah, they're not into Tom Cruise, but he's one of my favorites. He probably is my favorite actor. Him and Mel Gibson, which is funny because I think both of them are kind of controversial a little. Well, I don't know if Tom's controversial. I think he's just into some weird stuff. And then Mel, I don't think Mel is really liked by Hollywood. Yeah, but the dude makes good movies. He's like a great director and a fantastic actor, So I don't know. Those are a couple of my favorites there. Stan, do you have any favorite actors? And do you have any favorite directors? I'd be curious. For me, it's kind of interesting because I've noticed I'm more of a fan of movies than necessarily actors. So my favorite actors are the ones who are consistently in movies that I like. Like sometimes I'll like a movie and there's an actor in it and it's like, yeah, they are great in that movie. But that's like it. That's like the only movie I like that they're in. So it's kind of hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say, oh, I really like that person as an actor. Same thing with directing. Sometimes, sometimes there's a really good movie, and I'll check who the director is, but maybe I don't really care too much for what else they've made. So it's the consistent ones. It's the ones who constantly make movies that I like. Those are the people that I keep my eye on and stuff. So so as far as actors go, definitely Tom Cruise, definitely Mel Gibson. Those are a few, and even Brad Pitt, like I hadn't thought of it too much. I feel like I don't. And what's kind of funny is I almost feel like most of my favorite Brad Pitt movies are actually movies where he's in a B role, like where he's not the main character. Like Oceans. What else? Even what's that movie? Troy or whatever. Like he's not necessarily the main character in that movie, but he's just he's a good actor. And just like. And he makes good. I guess not only is he good an actor, but he gets good gigs. He makes good choices to be in good movies and stuff. So he's a good one. I like Daniel Craig pretty good. I think he's got a pretty good track record. Who else we got? What's his face? I was gonna say Jason Bourne, but that's not his real name. Matt Damon. There we go. Yeah, Matt Damon's got a pretty good track record. Christian Bale is in a lot of good stuff. Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's a favorite of mine. I like most movies that he's in. Trying to think if there's anyone else. Those are a few. And of course, there's like your Asian action stars. There's Jet Li and Jackie Chan. I mean, pretty much most of their movies are good. Although I would argue that, like I think they have given good performances, but it's definitely more so the action than like the acting. But as far as like actors go, I think Tom Cruise and Mel Gibson are definitely at the top of that list. And of course, I feel like I'm going to be forgetting like one of my favorites. So, trying to think if there's any other honorable mentions. Let me think. That's right, Legend of the Falls. I'm actually not even sure that I've seen that. I know Brad Pitt's in it. I'll have to check that one out. And then, yes, of course, Wolverine with Hugh Jackman. But, he's in other good stuff, too. Like, obviously, Wolverine is great. He's almost, like, interchangeable with that character. But what is it? The Christopher Nolan movie he was in had Christian Bale in it also with the Magicians. Oh, my gosh. What is that? The Prestige. Yeah, that's a really good one. And then the musical. What's that one called? The Greatest Showman. That was really good. Prisoners was pretty good. I need to watch that one again. And I feel like I'm forgetting something, but Hugh Jackman's been in a few really good like drama roles and stuff, and yeah, he's a good one too. Oh, how could I forget Van Helsing? I love Van Helsing. Hugh Jackman was in that. So yeah, those are some actors that I like. And then directors are even tougher almost, because they make the movies. They have so much influence over it and stuff. My favorite director, of course, is Steven Spielberg. I mean, the dude has made so many classics. Jaws, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Saving Private Ryan. Oh my gosh, what else? I'm forgetting everything. What else did he make? I mean, like dramatic movies like Schindler's List. Gosh, I'm forgetting like every Steven Spielberg movie. But the dude, is fantastic. He's made so many classics. I remember the moment I discovered like Steven Spielberg. Like I can't remember how. I can't remember what motivated me to look at it, but I found out what a director was. And I remember at my old house when I was a kid, we had this wall of VHSs, all their movies on the wall there. And I noticed this name, Steven Spielberg, and I started checking I was like, I wonder who directed these other movies that I like. So I started checking all my favorite movies. So I looked on the back of Jaws, Steven Spielberg. I was like, huh. I looked on the back of Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg. You know, looked on the back of Indiana Jones, Steven Spielberg. And I'm like, this guy is amazing. Like after that, I was just like, this one dude has made all these movies that I like. So that was the cool thing too. Like, I liked those movies before I realized who was making them. So he's definitely my favorite. My second favorite director is probably Christopher Nolan. He's got a really good track record too. I like almost every Christopher Nolan. And actually, I was wrong. Christopher Nolan's one of my favorites. There's a director I think I like better than Christopher Nolan, but Christopher Nolan has a really good track record. There's only like a couple movies of his that I don't really like, but I think he did a great job with Batman. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises. The Prestige is great. Memento is a great movie. What else did he do? Inception. Inception's fantastic. The dude's made some good stuff. Now, I will say, I haven't seen his most recent movie, which was Tenet. One thing that's interesting about Christopher Nolan's style is that he likes to have a concept for his movies. It's some kind of puzzle or enigma, something that is kind of like an object that impacts the story, Like it's kind of hard to describe it like that, but in Memento, the way the story's told is it's sort of like, he actually shows this great illustration. Instead of showing it in chronological order, it's like you take the story and you bend it like this, and then you go back and forth. So you're going from, forward, the chronological part, and then you're going to the endings. And so it's cutting back and forth between like what has, what's currently happening and what is going to happen, or something like that. I can't remember. So the movie actually ends in the middle of the story, where the 2 points meet up and stuff. So like he'll do that. Inception, of course, is about dreams, and it's basically a heist inside of dreams. The Prestige has, kind of a plot twist, and it's about magic and science, and so he's got like these deep concepts with his movies, but he's been exploring that more and more. He did, what was the war film? I'm drawing a blank on it, but he did a war film like 2016, something like that, 2017. And in that movie, it was more about, it had to do with time, but it was kind of like, and it was very much about being in the environment. It wasn't really about the characters. And that's where I have a problem. Like, I love characters. Characters are what I attach to. What gets me involved in a story is connecting with the character and following this character through the adventure. And so in his movie, you're sort of seeing these soldiers, these people involved in the situation, and you're seeing what they go through, and it kind of puts you in that scenario a little bit, but you don't really get to know anyone. And so for me, I don't really connect with anyone. Now, some people enjoy that. Some people like watching that. For me, not so much. And unfortunately, I think with his most recent movie, Tenet, I think it was kind of the same thing. It wasn't really about the characters. It was more so about the concept. And there's some really cool stuff, it sounds like, that they pulled off. I still intend to watch the movie, but I do have concerns because again, I like characters and stuff. So he's a really talented director, but I do hope that in future projects he gives a little more attention to his characters and stuff. But he wouldn't actually be my next favorite. I like Christopher Nolan, but Mel Gibson. I don't think Mel Gibson has made a bad movie. Maybe his first movie is his weakest. I still haven't seen it, so I can't say for sure. But Mel Gibson's a tricky one because he's only made a handful of movies, but they're all really good. Braveheart, of course, is like a perfect movie. Let's see, what did he do after Braveheart? I know eventually he did Passion of the Christ, Apocalypto, which is fantastic. He did Hacksaw Ridge, which is really good. And I feel like I'm forgetting one more. There's like one other movie that he did that was like really good, but he hasn't made a bad movie yet, so I don't know. He's one of my favorites. I always look forward to any time he puts a movie out because he doesn't put them out often. Just every now and then he puts out a movie. So. Far and Away. I'm not sure if I've seen that either. Is that another one with? I I don't know if it's got Brad Pitt in it or Hugh Jackman. But I can see the cover of that. I'm pretty sure it's like a sunset. I don't know if there's a horse on the front or it's like a field or something, but I feel like I can see that. Yes, I agree. I like connecting with the character. Um, the character is kind of how you embody the experience, and it gives you the emotion of the experience. That's like what impacts you. You know, it's the same thing like. You know, when we tell stories as human beings. So if I tell you a tragedy, like I tell you that, oh, dude, did you hear what happened in California? Like there was a city and there was a fire and this dude went in, like saved a bunch of people and, you know, but unfortunately he ended up dying in it and along with some of his friends. And it's like, that's a really sad story. But like, but then if I tell you like, you know, if you knew him, it's like, you know, if it's like, hey, I hate to tell you this, but your brother, or you know, if you have a brother or your cousin or your friend, your best friend who you know, there was a fire and he went into that fire and saved a bunch of people, but in the process he was killed in it. Suddenly that story has a lot more weight to it because you know who that person was and you have more of a connection to them or you can relate to them, you understand them. And it's the same thing with a movie and stuff. Like if you don't know the characters, if you're not really understanding what's going on in their mindset and stuff, you can't connect to the decisions and the choices that they make. They're not going to have as much impact. But when you know this character, what they're going through and what's at stake, and then you see them go through the story, then it's like suddenly it's more interesting. It's like, oh, you because you understand who they are, what they're trying to accomplish, how life, and you're rooting for them. You know, unfortunately, you know, as people like. I don't think we just root for people, you know. Like, unfortunately, we need to know people and know like, yeah, I would root for that person. You know, you kind of need to know them better to root for them and stuff. And you know, that's not to say that you can't love people or be kind to people without knowing them. You can certainly show love to people that you don't know and stuff, but it's definitely easier to do when you know that person, and so that helps. So yeah, I think characters. That's one thing I've learned with movies. I kind of have two ways of rating them. I will sometimes rate the genre or the story, and a movie can excel at either one. Like, so for example, an action movie, like I love action. So it can be like the most simple, generic story, but if the action is really good, that's I'm still gonna like the movie, you know? Like it might be like a story that I've heard 100 times before, but if the fight scenes are awesome, it's got good, you know, stunts and action in it. Like I don't care if I've heard the story before. It's exciting to see the action, or vice versa. It might be a genre I don't really care about, but it's a really good story. So again, like you know, romance isn't my favorite genre. But if there's a really good story that happens to be romantic, but it's a story that I can, you know, that is intriguing or engaging, or there's something about it and it's just well told. Like a story can surpass the genre. There's many movies, you know, it's sort of the same thing. Like, you know, back to the action movies. You know, like my sister might not really like action movies, but a lot of them like Taken because Taken is such a good story. You know, for them it's not the action; it's the story of a father trying to save his daughter. You know, that's what they like, the story there. But, you know, those are two things that can kind of be interchangeable. You only have to excel at one. But for me, the one thing that a movie has to have in order to succeed are good characters. That's non-negotiable. You know, it can excel at either the story or the genre. It doesn't have to be both, although that's great when it does. But characters are a must. Got to have characters. That's right. Tom Cruise is in that in Far Away. But yeah, Taken's a favorite of mine. It's probably like in my top 10. So, all right, Stan, thanks for hanging out. Anyone watching on the replay, I certainly appreciate it. I got one more song for you. If you've been waiting for the stream to be over, well, this one's for you. The song's called "Say That It's Over." that it almost looks real. Well, it must be hard to fake what you do not really feel. You're hiding, I know it. Tell me what's on your mind. I only wish to help. Won't you let me back inside? Say that it's over. Tell me the truth just one last time. I promise I'll help you. If only you'll let me back inside. Let me inside. Your face shows no reaction when I call out your name. Your presence like a ghost. You seem so far away. And you know that I love you, but the words seem to have died. I just want this to end. Please let me back inside. Say that it's over. Tell me the truth just one last time. I promise I'll help you. If only you'll let me back inside. Let me inside. Don't drift your eyes. Just look at me when I look at you, because you must realize you're barely holding on and I'm holding tight. Would you just please try? Don't give in. You have to fight. Why won't you hear my cry? I don't wanna say goodbye. Say that it's over. Tell me the truth just one last time. I promise I'll help you. If only you'll let me back inside. Say that it's over. Tell me the truth just one last time. I promise I'll help you. If only you'll let me back inside. Say that it's over. I don't wanna hear another lie. I just wanna help you. Please won't you let me back inside? Thank you. Sorry, Stan. Yep, it's got to come to an end eventually, but I'm glad you enjoy it. So, Stan, thanks so much for tuning in. Anyone watching the replay, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate it. If you'd like to support me, there's a link in the description to a virtual tip jar, and I definitely appreciate anything that you're willing to give. If you don't have the financial means to support me, my biggest goal right now is building an audience. So if you haven't already signed up for my email list, there's a link in the description. I would definitely appreciate it if you would sign up, but also sharing my content so other people can see it, inviting people to come to the stream, sharing my videos, just keeping up with me on social media and just telling people about my music, especially sharing my music. So I would really appreciate that. But, anyone watching, I certainly appreciate you watching and stuff. I know I talked a bit about performance stuff, so if you were interested in, kind of learning more about that type of thing, there are some resources in the description, so be sure to check that out. Excuse me. and yeah, hopefully you'll find that stuff helpful. But thank you so much for watching. I might hang out on the chat a little bit, but I am going to wrap it up here in a moment. So I hope you have a good evening or a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night, whatever time it is, wherever you're on the world. Thanks for watching. Until next time.